Hello everyone, myself Kranti Burghate and we are going to see the live demo of how auto scaling service works in AWS. So auto scaling is one of the coolest features of Amazon Web Services. Auto scaling really helps our infrastructure to adjust to the throughput needs. So when they say high throughput, accordingly it adds service. When the traffic goes down, it automatically terminates a few instances there. It is a cost-effective way of scaling applications in cloud. This video, let's see each and every aspects of auto scaling with a demo. Before getting into the demo, first let's understand the concept of auto scaling group and the terminology of it. Auto scaling group is a logical group of EC2 instances which participates in auto scaling. Auto scaling group has certain attributes like minimum size. When we go and create a group, then they can specify minimum size, which is minimum number of EC2 instances the group should always have. You can have a maximum size. There is a maximum limit up to which auto scaling can scale our instances. We also have desired capacity. So this desired capacity value is decided at runtime based on the load put on this environment. Desired capacity changes based on the scaling policies. They said we are going to tell auto scaling when to add servers and when to remove servers. We do that with the help of scaling policies. That scaling policy decides what should be the desired capacity. According to the desired capacity, auto scaling makes sure the group has a desired number of EC2 instances to serve the load. The next important concept to discuss is launch configuration. Launch configuration is a template which is used by auto scaling group for adding new instances to the group. See, for example, just adding a simple EC2 instance may not be helpful for us. Why? Because the EC2 must contain all our applications and the packages is required for serving the clients. So that is where launch configuration comes into the picture. We need to tell auto scaling group that this is a launch configuration, and if you wanna add new instance, get the details from this configuration and accordingly add that new instance to the group. And in our case, read this launch configuration is going to have a certain details like this. This configuration will contain the AMI details, Amazon machine image that needs to be used for launching new instance. We also need to specify the security groups. Then we have to mention what should be the volume type and what should be the volume size of that new instance. Even IAM role. Sometimes your EC2 is talking to, let's say, S3. So EC2 might need permissions to talk to S3. In such cases, we create role and assign them. Even that should be mentioned. In case of a launch configuration and the private key for SSH into the servers, we need private key. Those details we need to mention a part of the launch configuration. Auto scaling uses this launch configuration for launching a new instance into the group, which is a kind of instance which has our web application and all its dependencies required to serve the customers. Let's log into the AWS management console and see the demo of setting up launch configuration and creating an auto scaling group. So this is our AWS management console. You can see here. So there are some steps for creating an EC2 auto scaling service. So first one is create EC2 instance, create an AMI for that server, create a launch configuration for server, and create an auto scaling group using this launch configuration. So we will see next step by step. So here you have to create an EC2 instance first. For creating an instance, you have to click on EC2. As you can see, here is our EC2 dashboard. So we have to launch. For launching it, click on launch instance. It will take some time. So we have to specify here our AMI. I will go to Ubuntu. Here you can search as Ubuntu. I will go to free tier eligible, select, then here you have to choose an instance type. I will go with T2 micro, which is a free tier eligible. Then click on next, configure instance details. Here is instance details. Then click on add storage. There is no need to do some changes. Then click on next adds. Here you can add tags, but for this demo there is no need to do changes. Then click on next, configure security group. Here you can select an existing security group or you can create a new security group. I will go to create a security group. Then click on review and launch. Then click on launch. Here you have to specify the key pair. I will go to my existing key pair which I have already created. Then click on launch instances. Here you can see the launch status, which is your instances are now launching. Then click on view instances. It will take some time. As you can see here, our instance is running and initializing. You can name it. I will name it as demo 1. Here our instance is initializing. So as you can see here, our demo 1 instance is running and also it is initialized. So we have to go to next step. Our second step is create an AMI for that server. For creating an AMI, we have to click on this demo 1, select demo 1, click on action button, then image and create image. Here you have to specify the name of image. I will name it as demo server 1 and click on create image. Here you can see your create image request received. Close the window. Then our next step is create a launch configuration for server. So for creating a launch configuration, you have to find here launch configuration. So here it is, launch configuration. Click on launch configurations. Then click on create launch configuration. As you can see here, we have to choose AMI. I will go to my existing AMI which I have already created, which was demo server 1. I will select it, click on select. Then you have to choose the instance type. I will choose T2 micro, which is freely available. Then click on next, configure details. Here you have to name it. I will name it as demo server 2. I have already given it demo server 2. I will go to demo server 3. Then click on next, add storage. There is no need to do changes. Go to security group. Here you can see you can create a new security group or select an existing security group. I will go to create a new security group and click on review. Here you can see the launch configuration details. So create launch configuration. Here you have to specify the key pair. I will go to my existing key pair which I have already created. Click on this checkbox and click on create launch configuration. You can see here launch configuration creation status. We have successfully created launch configuration demo server 3. So our next step is create an auto scaling group using this launch configuration. So for this, click on this button. As we can see here, you have to specify the group name. I will name it as my server group 3 and I will put it 2 instances, which is the minimum size, and click on. Here you have to select the network. I will go to default network and subnet. You can select or leave it as it is. Then click on next, configure scaling policies. Here you can see there are 2 choices: keep this group as its initial size or use scaling policies to adjust the capacity of this group. So I will go to keep this group at its initial size and click on next. Then here you can see you can add notification, but there is no need to add any notification for this demo. So we can click next button. Then here you can add tags. I will leave it as it is. Then click on review. Here you can see there are configuration details that we have configured yet. Then click on create auto scaling group button. So the auto scaling group creation status, here it is, successfully created auto scaling group. Then close the window. See, there is two instances created. When we have just created auto scaling group, it was showing 0 instance, but now after some time it is showing 2 instances created to fulfill its minimum requirements. Now let's go back to the EC2 dashboard, where we can see total running instances. So here are 6 instances. Click on running instances. I was created this demo 1 instance, but for that demo 1 there are 2 instances already created by auto scaling group. So here we can see that there are 2 more instances. Let's name it as instance 1 and second one as instance 2. So here are those instances which have created by auto scaling group. We can see here there are 2 instances. Instance 1 and instance 2 are created by auto scaling group and they are running now. So now let's do an experiment to understand this auto scaling concept very briefly. So first, see, I'm going to terminating one instance, instance 1. For terminating it, select this instance, go to actions and instance state and terminate it. It will take some time for shutting down. It is shutting down now. So you can see here instance 1 is terminated now. So at this time, what auto scaling does, when instance get terminated, it has minimum requirement as 2. Then it will create one more instance automatically in order to fulfill the requirements. So we have to wait for 1 or 2 minutes, and after that we can see newly created instance by auto scaling group. We have to wait for some time. It will create new instance. Now it is showing 3 instances running. You can see here this was 2 instances which we have already created and one more instance which is now created by auto scaling group. So now we can see new instance created by auto scaling group. So this is for today. See you in next time. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.